Hi guys, welcome back to our 4-part series called Let's Talk About It. I got Paris Stewart here with me, joining me, and we're going to take a deep dive into self-discipline. So Paris, how important would you say self-discipline is when it comes to getting into the thought of having sex?
So, like I said, if you're disciplined all around in your everyday life, you know what your habits are, you know what your triggers are, you know where you're not supposed to dabble into it, where you are, what feels good to you, everything of that nature, then once you have that under control and you build your discipline from, like I said, your everyday life, then when you play with the thought, tug with the thought of having sex anyway, you know, you'll think about the pros and the cons of it, what's going to come of it, you know, how it's going to benefit you, how it's going to negatively impact you, things of that nature, socially, all of that. Then, you know, if you've already built the discipline in your everyday life, then you'll weigh your good and bad, and then you won't do it at all.
Right. So I think it's important for a young woman to have self-discipline, because if I identify you as being weak, if I see you hanging on to popularity or using yourself as a tool, meaning like you just want to be attached to popularity, then I know I can buy you. I know that if I'm good enough on a football field, if I'm good enough on that court, then you're going to attract me. And I don't have to do anything, and I don't have to say anything, and I can put you in a different position that I want to take advantage of your vulnerability, especially where we left off and we talked about no one even giving you the foundational blocks of what it means, right?
Surely.
Right. So the difference in between love and lust, right? You meet somebody, I meet a young woman, and I really think I like her, and I'm head over heels because she's a physical type.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking at her for emotional stability.
She everything I think I want.
Right, mental stability, you know, and things like that. So it's like we gotta be careful, right? When I'm talking about love and lust, you saying you love me, but you really lusting because that girl has a big butt, or she's formed and has big breasts, right? And so I'm sexually aroused, and so I think I'm in love, but it's really lust that we catering to. What would you say from a woman's aspect of that?
I mean, it would go both ways, of course, you know, because like you said, you see the big butt. Oh, she built,
right?
You know,
she thick. Right?
Oh, she thick. You know what I'm saying? You know, she look good with me. Right. You know, she matched my fly. Right. Things of that nature. Which, I mean, would you call it cloud chasing?
There it is.
No. No.
Cloud chasing.
Okay, but I mean, on the contrary, with a woman, it can be the same way. Okay. You know, she attracted to him because, like you said, oh, he played good on the basketball. Oh, he going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Gonna get that scholarship. Right. He gonna do. You know, it's.
I think that popularity goes hand in hand because, to me, and it's just a theorem that I dropped, right?
Yeah.
As young women grow, you start off with popularity. You begin to think that things are popular and you're attracted to a guy, right? But then as you begin to get later into your high school years, just say junior, senior, you like, oh, do he really take care of me? Do he treat me well? You know, does he put his hands on girls? Does he talk reckless? Right? Which we're gonna visit that. Go ahead.
Or, yeah, Daquan play good. You know, he dressed nice and everything like that, but I keep having to do his homework. He keep, you know, his grades not good. And then like, you know, he had that little scare last season. You know, they thought he tore his ACL. What's gonna happen if he don't go?
Right.
You know, what is he gonna have to offer me? Because, you know, we've been through the motions. We already did everything we was gonna do. We getting older. We finna go to college now. Right. You know, what if he don't make it like I thought he was? Then what interest do I have in him?
Exactly. And I think that young women and young men don't arrive at that point sooner, because for us, I don't know about my young fellas out there, but for me, I didn't really have a stable man growing up in the household, so I had no man to show me what being a man was. How to treat a lady, how to open doors, how to talk softly, how to be vulnerable. I had to learn all those things from a woman, and it's only so far that they could take me. Right. And so when you talk about a girl getting into her bag and getting into her maturity, even if she does see popularity a bit more as she transitions into her freshman year or just her younger years, right? Early 20s, young teens, they begin to see like, oh, well, what is a man? Right? Instead of popularity, it's like, what is a man? Can you pay bills?
Right.
Can you pay insurance? Can you pay my phone bill? Right.
Can you finance me? What's the 3 F's? Well, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, they start to get to know more things of that nature, because now who the freshman that wasn't so disciplined now she's got her mind together. You know, now she on top of this, that, and the third. She making sure she go to class, like I said, but you know, he ain't. You know, now she's trying to see who going along those same lines as her. Who's following the trends that she's following, not following the trends of being popular, not following the trends of cloud chasing, not following the trends of who got the latest shoes, you know, who got the release dates and what's the stuff they doing? I don't know. I'm so out of tune. But yeah, like literally, you building up you being more disciplined now for yourself, and you're wondering, how is this going to carry over for my relationship? Am I going to have to spoon feed him? Am I going to have to pull him along on my trail?
Yeah. And I would say the same thing for guys. I mean, those same guys that are popular out there, you're Mr. Basketball now, you're Mr. Football, you're Mr. Track. But it's those same guys that you cracking on calling lame that are going to win in the end. Those guys, they had their head down, they was doing their work, and they was lame. But then those same girls, when they do reach their maturity and they say, I want a man, well, he's been working all along, swinging that hammer, not getting a notice. But then when he gets into his early 20s, he can pay the bills.
Because he in his bag.
Right? He can do his thing, right? And he becomes stable. So that same square that you was cracking on, like, he becomes a man. And then whereas he ascends, you descend if you don't take care of business, right? So let's just break the ice. Sex, is it even worth it? When you're younger, is it even worth it? Like, not knowing who you are, is it worth it?
No. I would definitely say no, especially from my point of view. Okay. I mean, are we getting real? Are we talking, or are we talking?
That's how we doing it.
Are we talking, or are we talking? Typically, I don't think women, even, you know, when you're young and you're having sex, it's pretty much all about the man finishing, the boy finishing. Okay. You know, we don't even know what it's like to finish. We don't know where we going, what we doing. You know, we just in it for the benefit of the guy at this point, to keep him happy, to keep him near, you know, because if you ain't giving it up, somebody else is. Yeah. You know, so I definitely don't think it's anything that you could benefit from having sex at a young age, when you weigh your pros and cons. I mean, I knew that then, I know that now. I
can speak to it from a standpoint that when you're a superstar sports player, it's all about having the girls. It's all about having the girls. It's all about having, you know, all over the city, even out of the city. I mean, I can speak for myself. Coming up, seeing a superstar quarterback and seeing a superstar linebacker, like, it was pivotal that you had the girls. It's simple. You ball out on the football field and then you get the girls. That's what you got to do. But then later on, you learn, and then you begin to digress, and you start getting into deeper meanings. And when you get burned for the first time, not saying that I have, by the way, but when you get burned or you experience an STD, it kind of changes your whole world in synopsis, and it kind of puts things into perspective. So what would you say to that?
I'm sure it does, but then you also see those same guys who go through those things, get those STDs, get burned. They won't even go to the doctor. There you go. They'll bum pills out their homeboys who got burned too. You know, then what's that thing called? Trauma bonding.
That's it. Check you out.
You know, they now, you know, they getting closer to old dude now because he be going through the same stuff I be going through, and they don't want to be held accountable. Yes. They still want to do the same thing they want to do. You know, ain't nobody, like I said, ain't nobody going to the doctor, or they might have symptoms, and then they still just ain't gonna go to the doctor because they just don't want to know.
Yeah. So I think it's important, like, even if you are going too far, no one is saying that it's a sin to have sex and things like that, or that you're just this bad person. But if you're gonna be out here doing those different types of things, you have to take the necessary steps to protect yourself, using condoms, you know, using different things, because you got some young women, some young guys who at a young age, they think that they're grown, and then they may experience having pregnancy.
And like you said, I mean, it's just never too late to turn back. Yeah. Like, you can't get your virginity back, right, but you can always get a clean slate. You can always, you know, just revert from what you're doing. And with the teen pregnancy, now you bit off more than you can chew.
Right, you got your mom taking care of you.
Because I know.
Right.
And it was still an unfortunate situation, but fortunately, you know, I was in my second semester of my senior year. Okay. You know, I was getting ready to go to school and everything of that nature, and I was pregnant. Okay. You know, I had a teenage pregnancy, and I really realized I did all these sneaking and geeking, and ain't getting nothing but a baby from it.
There you go.
You know, like I said, it's just not worth it. You know, it's not even beneficial for me.
Wow.
In my experience.
That says a lot. So it's like, I think that, you know, when you really do start vibrating at a higher level, nobody really talks about soul ties and the energy that's transferred in between sex.
Yeah.
So all of those broken things that this guy is going through, you want to be with him because he's doing his thing on the football field. But when you guys lay down together, that's real trauma bonding.
Yes.
You know, you coming from a broken home, he coming from a broken home. And so you guys are releasing that energy to each other and you guys move on. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Even if you didn't come from a broken home,
right?
You want to know what it's like so
right.
bad. So you want to sympathize with that person.
Right.
So you really want to go through the motions with them.
There you go.
You know, because you're having sex, because you're being intimate, because you're in their close space. When they vent to you, you automatically want to do those things. So what was it like?
Right.
You know, you wanna feel it, and even though your mom and daddy was together and they displayed nothing but affection,
yeah.
you know, you still wanna feel that. And like you said, it's trauma bonding, but by the same token, that wasn't really your trauma. You just took that on your own. That wasn't something that you had to go through. That wasn't something that you had to deal with.
Yes.
But because you're intimate with a person, you want to feel that for them, you know, and want to help them through it.
Right. And so I think that's why young women are worth the wait. I mean, you have to understand that you're worth the wait. Young guys, young fellas, you got to understand that you're worth the wait. And so you have to understand a little bit more before you jump out here on the porch, right? Trying to be grown and trying to be, you
Definitely.
know, anything that you need to be out here. And so I definitely think it's important and pivotal to find yourself in foundation. Ground yourself with your self-esteem. Find love. Find everything else, right? You Google everything else, you know, you look for everything else, so find that.
Because, I mean, like we talked about earlier, if you know that you didn't grow up in a situation that was ideal for people, if you know that you're still experiencing traumas and you're still experiencing hurt and emotional things from what your parents did, from what your grandparents did, or whatever system that you were in, it's definitely not a time to be having sex. It's definitely not a time to be sharing any traumas with anyone else. It's a time to actually be getting to know oneself and to heal oneself, because that's truly everyone's individual obligation. That's your obligation to yourself and to pretty much everyone around you, you know. So I think that that's what needs to be highlighted a lot more in the community, you know, because we wait so long for people to actually come to terms with their trauma and with the things that happened in their life, and then start trying to work on it. Now you're 35 and you've impacted so many other people as well. You've hurt people because you were hurt all this time.
Hurt people, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so pivotal to have, you know, healthy relationships. And so what are healthy relationships? Join us next and we'll dive into that.
Hey y'all, what's up? Did you catch that very powerful segment that we did on self-discipline? Well, if you didn't, I'll just let you know we got into the nooks and crannies of popularity, sex, STDs, and more importantly, why you are worth the wait. Because girl, let me tell you, you are worth the wait. You are valuable. You are important. You are the pace setter. You got the world in your hands.